Hello everyone. I do use book covers quite a bit for books that I've made, junk journals or painted paper books or whatever. And I'm going to show you how I prepare the cover so that you can either sew your pages into it or use the cover for a wraparound binding. Alright, I'm just going to show you how I do the covers. Alright, you can use any kind of pages for these that you want to. This one is painted paper, and this one is like a junk journal, I guess. It's just all kinds of stuff. So they can be used for anything that you want to use them for. I like older books to do this with because usually they're falling apart. They're easier to deal with. This one is a new book. They use more glue in the newer books. Sometimes they are harder to pull apart, but we're just going to wing it. All right. And what I use to strengthen the spine is Tyvek tape. It is a drywall tape. It's very strong. It's very sticky. I find this at any hardware store. It's just regular drywall tape. Be careful with it though. I'll get back into that. Alright, so this is a book that I want to use just the cover. So I am just going to remove the whole entire book block from the cover. Now, these books usually have this front page, and it's usually glued to the book block. Alright, so I separate those two, and I usually glue those together to make it look nicer. So I gently pull that apart so I can get in there, so I can see what I'm working with. I do use an X-Acto knife. This one's not coming apart very well. Sometimes I leave the fly paper in, and sometimes I take it out completely. So you understand what I mean. This is the front page and the back page. Sometimes I will leave that in, and sometimes I just completely rip it out and put another paper over it. So it can be done either way. I do both. I do both. So I'm trying to show you how to get that saved. So I'm pulling it apart just a little bit so I can see here. I'm taking my X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut along that junction here, but I'm going to have the blade into the book block, not towards the spine. If you go towards the spine, you have a chance that you're going to cut your spine, and then you're going to have to repair it, and it's a whole big thing, and I try not to do that. So if you keep your blade cutting into the book spine, you won't have to repair a book spine that is accidentally gotten cut. And I just kind of work it and pull it and keep cutting until I get that book block to come apart from the cover a little bit. And I just keep going until it starts to move. You can kind of see I'm getting somewhere. The further you get in there, then you can see what's holding you up and kind of cut that, pull it apart, cut into the book block, gently, carefully. You don't want to do this really quickly. Take your time with it. The newer books, they use really strong glue. So once you get it started, you can kind of see where you're going with it. Really strong glue. Oh, and there I just ripped it. And that's fine, because that's what you want to do. You want to rip off that. And then you want to go to the other side. And this side is usually easier. Separate it from the block here. And you can usually see it better this way. And you can cut along the block there. And that just tore out. So that leaves me with the cover. Alright. Here's the book block. You can use that for pages, recycle it, whatever you want to do. And here you've got your cover with, and I don't really want these on this book, but what I would do is if I was to leave them on here, what I did with this one is I flattened that out and ran a Tyvek tape along the spine. You want to be really careful when you do this, because once that tape hits something, it pretty much stays there. So I'm going to take these off this time. I really don't want these papers on here, so I am just going to rip them off. I'm going to save them so that I can glue them over the Tyvek tape. And I want to make sure that there's not a bunch of glue. There's a glob of glue right here. So I'm just going to tear that off. You want it fairly flat. You want to make sure you didn't cut through your spine at all, because this is the time to fix that if you have. And you just run a bit of this tape on the spine. Make sure it's straight before you get it stuck on there, because it stays stuck once it is there. Use bad scissors too, because it'll stick to the scissors. So I am going to cut that off. Probably should have taken that little bit off there. I don't have it on the top. Oh well, it's there now. My tape wasn't wide enough. It's been tearing funny. I'm going to do it again. Alright, so now that I've got the tape there, I want to make sure that it is well stuck. So I use the bone folder and just kind of make sure that it's there. I'm going to put another strip down, because that other one was a little bit weird. It had tore funny. And double tape means double strength. And I got that one a little bit crooked, so it's going to have some wrinkles in it. No big deal. And then I'm just going to burnish that down. And now that spine is strong enough. I've got air bubbles in there. Let's see if I can get those out. That spine is strong enough if you want to stitch through it. So that the spine won't tear when you punch your holes into it. Now, if you want to use a wraparound binding, you need your spine to be strong. The wraparound binding. Oh, of course I don't have one right here to show you. And of course this one's all munched together, but you use a string to put your signatures in. That string will destroy a spine with time unless you strengthen the spine. So I always take another piece of cardboard and I cut it to the right size. I like it to be exactly as tall as the book because that thread, twine, yarn, whatever you're using to use a wraparound binding with, it needs something to rest against. So I cut a piece of cardboard, glue it into the spine, and then use my tape to cover over that, just to make sure that the spine is going to be strong enough. It's not going to rip apart in a few years. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the end. So that makes sure that it can be opened and closed a million times and it's not going to fall, the cover's not going to fall off. So after I get my tape on there, then I use a piece of painted paper or collage to glue over that. And I do that with the other one too. If I'm just going to sew my signatures in, I do glue a piece of paper over that tape so that I don't have to see that tape. Alright, so that's all there is to it. It is really easy to do. It takes some patience, some time. I might just glue one of these fly papers over that, and then I don't have to worry about it. I can collage the inside cover and then sew my papers into it. A lot of different options. So that is it. It's really easy. It just takes a couple of practice runs. Make sure that you're not cutting into the spine. Reinforce it with this Tyvek tape and or even duct tape. I've used duct tape as well. And that is it. That's all there is to it. Have fun with it. Thanks for watching.